Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. My name's Gary Allen. I'll be your host today. Today, we'll be talking about how to win with AI, how you can play at the top of your game as a lawyer. And I'm really excited to have Dennis Garcia with us, who I'll introduce in just a moment.
Well, Gary, it's great to be here today, and it's great to see you again. And I know we did one of these webinars several months ago, and looking forward to this one.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. Let's dive in here. This webinar is part of our Best in Class Law Firm series that we do for the Association of Legal Administrators. It's designed both for legal administrators and for lawyers and other people who work with the legal profession. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about ALA because we really love this organization. It's, as I said, for legal administrators, and it offers two really important and unique things. One is a community for legal administrators to, put their heads together and talk about the challenges of their work. And also it's education. So they offer a certificate of legal management as well as many other educational resources like this one. So if you are a legal administrator and you want to know more about ALA, please reach out. We'd be happy to help introduce you. So let me just introduce myself for a moment. So I am a longtime practicing lawyer, recently retired, and a founder of a company called LeanLaw, which is a legal software company, which is a financial operating system for your law firm that does all of your timekeeping, billing, invoicing, and reporting, but also connects you in a deep and intimate way with other applications that you use, particularly QuickBooks Online. So with that background, what am I doing here talking about AI and the business of law? I had received no business education at Stanford Law School, even though one of the best business schools in the world was about 1,000 feet away. And that's typical of lawyers. And early in my career, when I went into private practice, I experienced two firms that imploded on me. Great lawyers, great people, but they were not good at the business of law. And that created a lot of pain for me, including the second firm. I was left on a Saturday afternoon after a call with the managing partner with no job and a 6-month-old baby to feed. So all of that gave me a real passion to learn more about the business of law and how to make it better for law firms. And I was really fortunate to land in a firm after that experience, which was really extremely well run. In fact, after all this time, I'm not sure I've found one that's better run. And it was the emotional impact for me was immediate, moving to an environment like that I could, just really lay aside a lot of the BS that I was experiencing in my prior firm environment and focus on just doing my job as a lawyer and being compensated well for that. So I was happier. I made a whole lot more money. I want to help share what I learned with everyone that I can in the years that I have left. And that was part of the founding of LeanLaw, just to help law firms to become better businesses. So we're here today talking with Dennis Garcia, who until recently was an assistant general counsel at Microsoft with a distinguished resume there. And prior to that, he held in-house roles at a number of companies. He has a BA from Binghamton University, and a JD from Columbia Law School, and is licensed in several states. So thank you for joining us, Dennis, and feel free to say a little more about yourself if you would like.
Well, thanks again, Gary, for having me here today. It's a real honor and privilege. And I have sort of a unique experience in that I have spent my 30 plus years of a legal career all in-house. I've never worked for a law firm, but I've had the opportunity to work for three great technology companies: Microsoft, Accenture, and IBM. That's where I started my legal career a long time ago. And so I'm based in the Chicago area, in the suburbs of Chicago. I grew up in the New York City area, so of course you can't take the New Yorker out of a person. So I'm sort of
Go
a
Mets.
blended. Well, I should go Mets up. I'm actually a Yankees fan, but
Oh,
it's
you
okay.
are? Okay.
I'm a baseball fan all up. So I like all the teams, but being born in New York City in the Bronx, my birthright is to be a New York Yankees fan. So
Ah,
I'm a huge fan. And, when they come to the Midwest, my son's 13 years old. We like to go to ball games at various stadiums in the Midwest when they come out here. The Yankees are going to be in St. Louis tomorrow and then this weekend. And so I was toying with the idea of taking a
okay.
train down to St. Louis to go there, but we'll see. But I'm a big sports fan, big baseball fan, obviously, and I also enjoy traveling, like a lot of other people do.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's dive into today's topic. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to start with a little poll here. And these are always I start to sweat whenever I do this, but I think I've got the right one here. So I want to just understand where people are on their adoption journey. So are you just getting started with this, experimenting, implementing, integrated? Know way more than anybody else on the call. How's it going at this point for those of you in the audience? Got a few responses. Give it a few more seconds here. All right, some of you are being shy. Dive in. I'll give you 10 more seconds. It's always good to understand where the audience is, just so we're okay. So we've got a little bit of a mix. We've got a couple of ringers here, it looks like, but a number of people are just getting started. So I'm going to end the poll and share the results so everybody can see just for a second. So that's kind of our baseline today.
Well, Gary, one quick comment I would say to
Yeah,
that is
please.
it's good to see that I think I didn't see anyone who said that they're not interested. And I think
Yes.
that's good. I think that's good. That's baseline, that's sort of table stakes. But and we'll talk about this more. But in this AI era, I think one of the key points is that you do not want to be left behind. You want to get started in using and experimenting AI solutions. These solutions are just going to get better over a period of time. There's been big investments made by technology companies in this space. I think these investments are going to continue forward. These AI solutions are going to get better. And I think it's important for lawyers, whether you work for a firm or you work in-house or another legal organization, is to start using these tools, start becoming hopefully more comfortable in the art of prompting Gen AI tools. But the key point is get started. Don't wait. You don't want to be left behind in this era of AI.
That's a great point, Dennis. And I don't think, I've been following legal tech my entire career since the 80s. So I'm dating myself. But I don't think I've ever seen an investment like this in anything in technology. I mean, it's like, okay, we had an internet created, but the internet's largely pretty decentralized. So, Microsoft is obviously doing things related to that, Google, but like there are trillions of dollars going into AI and the infrastructure that's required for AI, all the power resources. And to think that, basically AI has the capability to make the lights dim just about anywhere it's operating is pretty crazy. So this is a tech trend like I don't think I've ever seen. Clearly, from what AI can do, it's not just hype. It will do a lot of remarkable things. So yeah, that's a great point. Just don't be on the sidelines for this one, even if you're just asking it to write bad poems.
Right. No, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so let's jump in and talk a bit about what impact AI is going to have on the legal industry. And just to get us started, could you tell us a little bit about your background using AI as an in-house lawyer at Microsoft?
Sure. And so when I used to work at Microsoft, the primary AI tool I would use, of course, as you would expect, is Microsoft Copilot. And of course, Microsoft Copilot is part of the Microsoft 365 cloud computing solution. While I was at Microsoft, I used Copilot for about a year and a half or so, ever since its inception. And I found that being able to use Copilot and become more of a power user of Microsoft Copilot, I was able to save time. And you know, there was a lot of different ways in which I used Copilot. I use Copilot to help me put together emails, to work on contracts, to help simplify issues, to help provide sort of an overview of documents and summary of key documents and laws. I use Copilot to help transcribe Microsoft Teams calls. I was always, of course, on Microsoft Teams calls. Some Teams calls I was unable to participate because I was either doing other work or I was double booked, and I was able to use the transcription features of Microsoft Teams to transcribe the outcomes of those calls as to, you know, what those calls said and whether or not I was tagged during a call or if I had to do something. So I was able to save time and not having to listen to a totality of a recorded call. I could just sort of get a nice summary. And so in my experience with using Copilot is, and the more and more which I used it, it would help me save time out of my day and free up time. And I think as we learn, as we get older and more experienced, time is probably our most important asset. And I was able to use that saved time to devote to other mission critical important work while I was at Microsoft. And quite frankly, being able to use Copilot or other leading AI tools, I think enables lawyers also to get out of some of the routine, repetitive work that lawyers have done for a long time and to free them up to do more high impact work. Now, I think as it relates specifically to law firms, I think one of the interesting things which AI tools can enable law firm lawyers is to free up time for them to get better connected with their clients and spend more time perhaps in relationship building, right? Building those relationships and hopefully uncovering more opportunities to do additional legal work for their clients, right? So I think it frees up time for them to engage in more meaningful business development opportunities, which is critically important.
Yeah. So did you find that with Microsoft that okay, now I have more time to to work with your client, the corporation, and to in ways that were more important than whatever other taking notes or whatever busy work you might have been doing.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. In my experience as an in-house lawyer, it's important for in-house lawyers to understand the business of the company which you're supporting, to understand its solutions, the customers, the competitive marketplace. To the extent that in-house lawyers understand the business better and build deeper relationships with their key business clients, they're going to be better positioned to provide more meaningful in-house legal services. So yes, I found that as some of my time was freed up, I was able to devote some more time to understanding the business, building closer connections and deeper relationships with my business clients, trying to understand better what are some of the challenges they're facing, and how I can be not just a legal advisor, but a true trusted advisor to my clients. And
Right.
as AI moves forward, one of the key things which is not going to go away for lawyers is the human aspect of building relationships with colleagues, with your clients, right? We're going to have to be even better at being able to do that. And if you're able to build deeper relationships with your clients, which I did in my time as an in-house lawyer, they're going to come back to you time and time again for more help
Right.
and more legal services. And that's where you want to be, whether you're an in-house lawyer or if you work for a firm.
Yeah. Yeah. So just thinking about that vantage point, how would you describe at a macro level the shift that AI is creating in the legal industry? What's the big picture here?
Well, I think a few things. The big picture is, how do you continue to use now super advanced technology in the form of AI, which is just going to get better to help you better serve your clients. I think there's a big aspect of that. Some of these tools, some of these tools have been viewed as being perhaps a third year law student, maybe a first year associate or a second year associate. They'll get better, but I do think some of these tools will get better to the point where, depending upon the task, it may actually do a better job than lawyers,
Right.
depending upon the task, right? I mean, so I think there's a lot of opportunities for lawyers to say to themselves, how do I use AI not to replace what I'm doing as a lawyer, but as a tool, as an assistant, right? As Microsoft calls its solution Copilot, right? How can you use that as sort of an assistant or an aid to help you deliver even more meaningful legal services to your clients? I think there is also opportunities as we talk about firms in-house legal practice. How can firms use these tools to provide perhaps more predictive billing, or maybe alternative fee arrangements or fixed fee arrangements? As an in-house lawyer, I can tell you firsthand that when they work with law firms, of course, they want great services, but they want great services at a competitive price, right? And so there's lots of competition, as we know, in the legal marketplace. Firms are competing against in-house lawyers who are taking more work inside. They're competing against other firms. They're competing against alternative legal service providers. So I do think firms can look at AI solutions, if they get proficient at it, as a way of using those solutions to provide perhaps better or more competitive pricing for their legal services. Maybe not all of their legal services, maybe certain subsets of those legal services. And if they could pass on either deeper discounts or fixed costs or savings to their clients, I think those firms can stand out and really can differentiate themselves from the masses. Now, that said, of course, when we think about AI, it's still very much in its early stages, right? I mean, it's going to continue
Lots of
forward.
mistakes, right?
Yeah. And as lawyers, as we know too, or we should know, when you're using these AI tools, you want to trust them to a point, but you have to actively verify them. They have to verify the outputs as to what it's providing to you. We've seen, and we will continue to see, hallucinations from these Gen AI tools. I think as these tools get better, hopefully we'll see fewer hallucinations. I think as lawyers get better at prompting and have more specificity in what they're asking for from these tools and their prompts, that also minimizes the likelihood of hallucinations. But you have to check the work of these AI tools, just like you have to check the work of a first-year associate, a second-year associate, right, a law school intern, right? You have to oversee that work and make sure that it passes muster with the law and any also legal ethical considerations.
Right. So along those lines, we got a question in advance of the webinar. Thank you, Brandon, for that. which is, it's a similar topic, but just maybe a little different take on it. So it says, if you have any insights into how we as lawyers can be valuable or more valuable to our clients and potential clients with respect to AI, it'd be interesting to know. So
Sure.
yeah,
Mhm. Well, I think a few
riff
things. I
on
think,
that a little bit.
yeah, I think as these AI tools do get better, I think these AI tools can handle some of the routine, repetitive questions, perhaps on its own without a lot of legal oversight. There'll be some legal oversight, but maybe without a lot of legal oversight. By doing that, to my point earlier, that's going to help free up time for lawyers to connect with our clients and really understand what are some of the other higher impact and more pressing mission critical issues which you need my help in. What are some of the more deeper problems where you need a human, a lawyer, to help you sort of think through and to figure out and problem solve from a legal perspective. I think one of the key things is it's going to free up time for lawyers to not just be a lawyer, but to be this proverbial trusted advisor who can help out, maybe not just on some legal issues, but since lawyers see a wide range of issues and matters, maybe other business practices, contract, related issues, which may not just be totally legal in nature. I also think, and this is something which isn't discussed that often, but I do think these tools can help free up time for us, to give us back time so we can focus on ourselves and our wellness. As we
Yes.
know in our profession, unfortunately, there's some wellness issues and concerns. Lawyers, quite frankly, and legal professionals work a lot, maybe too much, right? And we've seen through the American Bar Association and other groups about how lawyers and legal professionals will have unfortunately a high rate of substance abuse, alcoholism, other issues or concerns. And if these tools can free up time so that you can focus on yourself, your physical, your mental well-being, maybe spend more time with your family, I think that's another benefit. And that also helps your firm as well, because you want people who are engaged, who are not overworked, and who are ready to go in the workplace, who are not overwhelmed by the work which they're doing. And hopefully they have free time, right, where they can focus on their personal lives and interests.
I think that's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, we've just got to become more human as part of all of this. You
Yes.
know, I want to introduce a couple of concepts here just from the standpoint of legal technology, because we're talking about AI tools, kind of in the abstract. And I want to talk about a few things that are happening, I think are very, we're really excited about, and I think are going to be a big part of this change. And that's one of the concepts is called a model context protocol, which is essentially a universal integrator for software applications. So one of the problems you've got in law is that, legal tech is kind of all over the place and things don't fit together, and some things do some things well and not other things so well. And getting them to integrate the way you want has been quite challenging. And what the model context protocol allows you to do is to train an AI agent essentially to integrate a whole bunch of different applications. So now you can create a much more customized legal tech stack than you've been able to without relying on one vendor to say, oh, we do everything, and then they don't do most of it very well. So as advocates of best-in-class technology for law firms, we think that's really exciting, and I think can help people put together what they want in the way they want. The other thing that's very interesting is called agentic AI. So it's the creation of an AI agent, which is essentially an agent that, or an AI tool that is able to complete tasks. So it's got all the checks and balances built into its querying process so that it can, create financial reports or whatever. Now, obviously, you're going to want to have steps in there where you say, I want my human eyes on that, both as a lawyer. If any of you are in finance, you're going to want that for your bills, but it should be able to simplify a lot of those routine and even not so routine processes that you go through. Um, and that allows you to fill a lot of gaps. I mean, one thing that drives almost everybody crazy is law firm reporting. And just getting all the reports that you want for your firm it's really, really hard because you know the tools you use may have the data, but the way you want to do math on it or the way you want to slice it up for your compensation or whatever, it's like a little bit different for everyone. And so it's difficult, if not impossible, to write traditional software in a way that's going to give you what you want there. But with these AI agents, you have the potential to have something that's much more flexible. I spent a whole day this week trying to create a pivot table in Excel that would do exactly what our clients wanted for a report. And I was like, all right, that was really hard. I can't wait for those AI agents to help make that easier.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think this agentic AI is very, very exciting, especially for our legal industry.
mhm,
We do a lot of busy work as lawyers, and to the extent that we can get away from some of that busy work, and again, free up time, save time to do more high value work, that's really important. I mean, as an in-house lawyer, my experience, a lot of times in-house lawyers receive the same routine, repetitive questions time and time again from their clients on a variety of issues. And you could put together an AI agent and empower and build an agent which can handle a lot of those questions on its own with your direction as well.
mhm,
There's a lot of in-house legal teams, and I'm sure a lot of law firms as well, who've created self-help materials, do-it-yourself materials for their clients, and they can use an AI agent as sort of a digital concierge to get access to that information and to dispense legal counsel. And again, key areas where it's routine, repetitive, and many times it's also lower risk. So one thing I would just say is that for folks who are using or thinking about putting agentic AI to work, think about some of their proverbial low-hanging fruit, if you will, of the
mhm.
common repetitive inquiries they get from their clients, and which are lower risk in nature, which doesn't really need custom legal support. And there's a lot in that surface area. And think about how you can use agentic AI to answer those questions and concerns from your clients. Maybe a law firm could think about, I mean, just thinking out loud, having an agentic AI capability as part of its website. I think there's opportunities in the judicial area and the court system to have agentic AI systems to help people who are trying to navigate through a court system where that could be very confusing at times, right? So I think the potential in the legal arena to use agentic AI as a tool to be able to help clients sort of navigate a range of issues is very appealing, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's we're just starting to explore that. So here's a really important consideration and a question from Anna, which is, how can we ensure AI tools protect client confidentiality and never leak private information? Never is a
Well,
big word. but
Yeah, never is a never is a word which a lot of lawyers don't like, right? Because trying
yeah,
to say never. But uh, Anna, it's a very good question. I think the key thing to do is that there's a lot of AI solution providers out there in the marketplace. We're seeing more and more AI providers, of course, in the legal industry, in the legal tech area. Lots of competition. Before you acquire a solution, it's important that your firm, that lawyers do its active due diligence in understanding what is the AI solution all about, number one. But an important piece of that is to understand what are they doing, what will they be doing to protect and secure client information and your firm's information and your client's information. Of course, that's very, very important. And so you have to actively, connect with the right people in your firm, and maybe risk management team, or whoever else you have who can do that due diligence and ask those questions of a provider as how are you protecting my client's information in your AI solutions? Are you using the data to improve the foundational models? Hopefully, you're protecting the data, and that data is not going external, outside to the public, right? So you have to really you have to really do that active due diligence on all your providers before you select them. And hopefully you can select someone that you can trust. And I also think someone in a firm, company, which has a proven track record in being able to protect and secure information. So you gotta make sure you're spending time in doing that. We're seeing more and more states in their bar groups put together ethical guidelines and ethical opinions in the AI space. And of course, a key consideration is you can only use AI solution providers who are protecting your client's information in the proper way. And so, you really have to take your time and do that due diligence and understand clearly how are they protecting your data. As lawyers, we're generally speaking, under this ethical obligation of understanding the benefits of using technology and the potential risks of using technology. And that applies, of course, to AI. So I would just say, spend the time in doing your homework on any potential AI solutions provider.
Right. And for those of you who are a little more down in the weeds on those solutions, this is a place where you really have to outline your processes carefully. What are the use cases where you're going to allow people to use AI, and then just walk through those processes to make sure that the data is always in a secure, protected state. All right. So, I've been stalking you on LinkedIn and looking at your posts. And there's one where you talk about for a certain type of law firm, AI may reduce the number of attorneys that you need for certain tasks. So some of the more routine things that you might do in IP, for example. That's, what do you think about this big question of, and I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but just, does that mean we're going to see AI eliminate a lot of jobs in the legal industry? Or, which is my theory, I believe there's a lot of latent demand for legal services from people who can't afford lawyers or clients who would, affording it is, who would see value in services if the price were lower. What do you think?
Well, it remains to be seen. My own personal opinion is I do think we're going to see an impact as AI gets better and more pervasive. I do think we're going to see an impact upon jobs in the legal industry over a period of time. and the way I look at it, and I see it not just for law firms, but also for in-house legal departments and other legal organizations. While it may be the case that AI cannot do the totality of a lawyer's job right now, or maybe never, right? I
Mhm.
do think over time, AI tools, depending upon the law job you have, the legal job you have, or the legal professional job you have, it may be able to do parts of it, maybe 10%, 15, 20%, who knows? And the way I look at it, and maybe this is sort of an oversimplification, but if you have a practice group, let's say of 10 lawyers in a particular area, whether it's in-house or as a law firm, I think as these tools get better, if you have a practice group of 10 people, depending upon what they do, perhaps you don't need all those 10 folks. Maybe you only need
Mhm.
7 or 8 folks, right? And so I also do believe that as AI becomes more pervasive, and let's be honest, some of these AI tools aren't necessarily cheap. It costs money to acquire and use AI solutions. I think you're going to
Mhm.
see firms and in-house legal departments and others try to get a quote unquote return on investment, ROI, from these tools,
Right,
right? Hopefully
right.
that ROI will be in terms of better efficiency and productivity and saving time and all that stuff. But another ROI may just be that there is less of a need for actual lawyers or humans to do some of this work, right? And if
Mhm.
having fewer lawyers on your team. So I do think there is going to be an impact on jobs in the legal profession as AI becomes more pervasive. That all said, there's also more opportunities for lawyers in the AI space. And what I mean by that is our clients need help in the AI space. They need help in being able to select which tools they should be using. They need help in putting together policies and processes as they use AI. They need help and guidance on how to use AI in a responsible manner. We're going to see more laws, right, in the AI space. We're seeing some more in Europe. I don't know if we're going to see a US federal law anytime soon, but we're going to see states put together their own AI laws, many of which may amplify some of the existing data privacy laws. There's going to be a lot of legal issues and questions associated with AI. Something which I shared via LinkedIn, I think it was earlier this week, is one thing
Mhm.
which I love about AI is that AI cuts across a lot of legal disciplines and practice groups, whether it's data privacy, whether it's regulatory, whether it's intellectual property. There's a lot of cases going on right now, which we'll probably find out what happens in those cases in the next year or
Right.
two, which cuts into the intersection of copyright law and AI, employment law. There's a lot, cybersecurity. What's great about AI is that it affects a lot of different practice groups, but I think there is going to be a growing need for lawyers to really get deep in AI law and to
Mhm.
help their clients navigate through it as AI plays a bigger role in our lives. And then, of course,
Yeah.
the practice of law, I think, is going to be altered and transformed as more and more lawyers need to skill up and become power users of the AI tools. So I think there's going to be lots of opportunities for people to train lawyers on how to use these tools, how to be great prompters, which tools
Mhm.
should they be using. So while I do think laws will, I mean, jobs could be negatively impacted in the legal industry by the rise of AI, there's also going to be lots of interesting opportunities for lawyers in the AI space in the legal marketplace moving forward.
Well, yeah, I really liked that about that post, and I hadn't thought of it quite that way, but AI is going to affect almost every kind of law practice. And I don't know that it's like, you that that you can have an AI lawyer who is the AI employment lawyer and the AI intellectual property lawyer and copyright lawyer. I mean, it's like everybody's going to have to get smarter about this, how AI affects the law in their practice area.
Yeah, and I think my view is I just think it's a great opportunity for lawyers to be more proactive in this space, so that
Mhm.
we as lawyers can shape, the sort of the next sort of generation of AI in the law, right? And so
Right.
um, there's a lot of opportunities for lawyers to perhaps participate in their respective state bar commissions or groups, or to participate in CLEs, to share information about how they're using certain AI tools, what they're learning about in the AI space. So I just think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for us as lawyers to sort of help shape that conversation, and to share information and ideas, and to participate in sessions like this one, right, where we can sort of all learn from each other.
Mhm. All right, so I've got to ask this question. So you were recently part of a reduction in force at Microsoft. Was your job impacted by AI? And what have you learned from that experience?
Well,
And
I
if
mean,
that's uncomfortable, I apologize.
no, it's not uncomfortable. Well, not uncomfortable at all. Of course, last month I posted this last month on LinkedIn about my job being eliminated at Microsoft. There are thousands and thousands of Microsoft
Yeah.
employees who unfortunately were impacted as well through a job elimination series of events. And so, I'm not my former manager, right? So I can't really speak to whether or not my job was eliminated because of AI. But I've learned a lot during this experience, and a few things I'll share. Number one, I had a terrific 22 and a half years at Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft's a great company. Microsoft's got a terrific legal department. And so I learned a lot during my time, and worked with great business clients and great lawyers. So I certainly had a terrific career at Microsoft, and I feel very blessed, quite frankly, that I was able to work so long at Microsoft for such a great company. I mean, that's number one.
Right, right.
The other thing which I learned is I think nowadays, if you work in corporate America long enough, something like this could happen to you at some point in time. We're unfortunately seeing that happen more and more in corporate America. It's not unique to Microsoft. And I think we're going to see that more and more, especially in this age of AI solutions. And one thing which I've learned is, and this gets into a quote from one of my favorite movies of all time. One of my favorite movies, of course, growing up in the New York City area, is The Godfather. And there was a scene in The Godfather where Sonny Corleone, who's a brother to Michael Corleone, they were the kids of Don Corleone. Don Corleone unfortunately gets shot, and Sonny Corleone goes to Michael Corleone and says, "Sonny, this is." He goes to Michael and says, "Michael, this is business, not personal, right? You're taking this way too personally." And I think that's the mindset which you have to have when these things happen. So I not taking it personally. I haven't taken it personally. It was a business decision. And I'm just really excited for my next chapter, right? And I'm still thinking through that. And but I'm really excited about what's next. And this has also given me some time to think about
Mhm.
my career as to what I want to do, right? What I want to do with my remaining time in sort of corporate America and the rest of my career.
Love it. Yeah, what a great attitude. Thank you. Um, so let's move on to a topic you've really emphasized about AI, which is that your humanity is really your superpower and secret advantage as a lawyer. So, so you've written about qualities like empathy, relationship building, and judgment that are harder for AI to replicate. So what sort of services do you think are most human and most valuable to the lawyer of the future?
I'll say there's a lot of things, and a lot of those things are the things which machines and technology and AI cannot do. So I guess the point being is that the more human centric things we do as people and as lawyers are going to be, I think, in more demand and even more important than ever before as we use AI tools. So a few of them come to mind. Number one, our ability as lawyers to communicate with clarity and understanding, and our abilities to influence others. I think these are some things which maybe AI cannot necessarily do right now, at least.
Mhm.
And I think our skills, which are very human in nature, which are going to be even more important. I know we talked about the relationship building aspect. AI can only do so much in terms of building relationships with others, right? So I think as we get deeper in the practice of lawyers using AI solutions, we need to deepen our relationship with our colleagues, the people we work with, our clients, of course. If we're litigators, deepening relationships with judges and courts, right? So how do we build closer relationships with people? I think that's very, very important. I think our ability as lawyers to be confident and to exude confidence, right, in everything we do, and to inspire confidence is very, very important. Our ability to engage in smart risk taking, I think, is another skill which will be very, very important. We can use AI tools to help us make those smart risk-taking decisions, but we still need to make sure that we have our gut intuition, right?
Right.
Sort of our sort of human element of it. It's a little bit like, and of course, a big baseball fan. There's a big question going on in Major League Baseball regarding the data people who use data to make decisions,
right.
and then people who sort of use their sort of gut instinct and what they've learned over years. And I think you need to use a combination of the both, right? And I think the same thing for lawyers, but your sort of intuition and your gut analysis and your smart risk-taking is always important. The empathy aspect, I think, is also important. We have to try to put ourselves in the shoes of our clients. We have to put ourselves in the shoes of opposing counsel, the people who we're negotiating with, or the people who we are up against, to get to understand their perspective better. And I think to the extent that we can do that, we could be better lawyers. I don't think AI can do that yet, or will be able to do that.
Yeah.
So there's a number of these, what I view as human-centric elements to what we do as lawyers, which are not going away. The ability for us to collaborate, the collaboration piece, and I've seen this working as an in-house lawyer from my career, is that sometimes large in-house legal teams may have a habit of being in their own silos, probably also the same with certain law firms too. And the ability for us as humans to share information, to make our teammates better, right? To share our knowledge, our lessons learned. Those are going to be even more important skills as we get deeper into an AI world.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And let's just for a second turn to a new lawyer coming out of law school who, typically they do research and write, memos, and kind of they're learning how to be lawyers. And, I see a real risk that AI might take some of those opportunities away. So, how do young lawyers position themselves to thrive in an AI environment? And how do law firms grow the next generation of lawyers with AI in the mix?
Yes, this is a really interesting question, because in some respects, AI maybe, depending on what AI you use AI for, it could take some of the sort of apprenticeship and sort of
Right.
sort of initial building blocks which lawyers have done for a period of time, right, to build up their skills. I don't know if all of that is going away. I still think new lawyers coming out of law school should still seek some of that work, maybe even some of that grunt work, even though some of that could be done by AI. I think they should try to learn that to some degree. I think they don't necessarily need to do that so intensively as what they had to do in the past, because in the past there was no AI. But I think it's important for lawyers to maybe understand some of the routine nature of some of that work and to sort of oversee some of that work initially so that they can get some good foundational building blocks. But I think the best way in which firms can onboard newer lawyers in this space is to make sure they're giving them and providing them the technology, basically, so that they can use these AI tools. And presumably some of these lawyers, folks who went to law school, hopefully they've had some access to AI tools, or maybe some classes in law school where they have learned a fair amount of technology so that they can come into a firm and hopefully be sort of more AI ready than some of the other folks of the firm, and they can sort of provide that value add. But I think it's important for firms to provide the best technology environment for their incoming lawyers. And I think also, at least from my perspective, the way to help develop and grow lawyers is to be open and honest in your evaluation of their skills, and to provide feedback in the moment, right? Good, thoughtful feedback so they can continue to grow.
Yeah, just a thought as we're talking through this, we don't really have time to get into this, but I wonder how much AI changes the way lawyers should be taught in law school. Is it still the paper chase and the messy process of learning to think like a lawyer, or is it changed somehow? I don't have no idea what the answer is there, but it seems like an AI augmented law student is going to be, there might be some different aspects to how they, kind of learn the core skills of lawyering compared to how they do it today.
There's no doubt from my perspective, as we know in life and in business, change is the only constant. And I do think law schools need to embrace more change, and they need to prepare law students and the lawyers to be really true 21st century lawyers, with a high emphasis on technology, on data analytics, on AI solutions. So I think you have to blend the old with the new, if you will. Yes, there are still the foundational courses you take in law school, but I think the best law schools, and we're seeing there's some in the Chicago area who do that, where they're putting more of an emphasis on using technology and AI solutions in the practice of law. And I would encourage any law student who's in law school or wants to go to law school, that make sure you're taking those classes if they're available. Don't be shy in letting your law school leaders know that, technology centric law school classes should be something which is offered by your law school, because these are the important tools which will help you be successful in the 21st century. When I look back at my law school career, and I went to a great law school a long time ago, Columbia Law School, there are a lot of times I say to myself, well, whatever I learned in law school, am I really using it today or not? I don't know. I'm not quite sure, basically. But I think law schools can do a better job at arming law students to be 21st century lawyers. And I think part of it too, quite frankly, is to have more practitioners who are doing legal work day to day to be part of their faculty, basically, to help train and educate these lawyers.
We've just got a few more minutes left. This hour has flown by. So we got time for one or two more questions. Can you comment briefly on how are you seeing AI? I mean, apart from all the human issues that you've talked to and the opportunities there, how does AI change the relationship between a law firm, a lawyer, and their client? How does that?
Well, yeah, a few things. I think we're seeing, a lot of law firms, of course, with their in-house clients. They have these retainer agreements, outside counsel guidelines, if you will, especially with some of the larger legal departments, in-house legal departments. I think we're seeing an evolution of that in terms of hopefully, at least from my perspective, in-house legal teams being open for law firms to use leading and trusted AI tools for law firms to deliver their legal services. There are still, I think, some in-house legal departments who may be a little bit apprehensive in that area, and may not want some law firms to be using these tools because they are still very risk averse. But I think we are seeing some changes in terms of the sort of retainer agreements and whether or not that enables firms to use AI tools. I think we're going to see pretty soon, if we haven't already done so, I think we're going to see more general counsels and in-house legal leaders go to their firms and to say, if they haven't already done so, I want to understand your AI strategy. Are you using AI solutions and tools? If so, which ones are you using to help deliver my legal services? And then most importantly, if you are using trusted AI solutions, how are you giving me a better deal, if you will? How are you reducing my fees? How are you creating more of a fixed fee environment, maybe less of a billable hour? I do think over a period of time, as AI solutions become more pervasive, there's going to be more pressure on law firms to move away from a typical hourly billing rate and not be able to bill by an hour for that work which is being done by AI solutions, and to come up with a fixed fee rate. So I do think if firms aren't already thinking about how they can deliver legal services using AI solutions at a greater value and at a lower price point, I think they should start thinking about that.
Nice. All right. I'm going to skip over our polls here just because we're like down to the wire. I just want to give a little plug for the law firm report card that we're going to send to everybody after the webinar, which will allow you to sort of assess where your firm stands from its profitability. Might show you some opportunities where you can use AI. So be on the lookout for that. All right, so in 1 minute or maybe two, what do you think are what's coming next? Forecast AI for me for the next 2 to 3 years, say.
Well, I've spent a good portion of my career being a deal lawyer, working on contracts with customers and partners, a wide variety of companies out there. I do think we're going to see even better uses of AI in the contract negotiation cycle and process. There's already a lot of interesting solutions out there. I think these solutions are just going to get better over a period of time. I'm excited as a deal lawyer eventually to be able to use AI solutions, which will quickly look at a customer or third party's comments to my company's contracts and be able to advise me very quickly whether or not those provisions are suitable based upon our risk tolerance or our fallback provisions. I think there's also great opportunities to have AI-focused contract solutions, which can help you look at your universe of contracts which you have in place and to select, those provisions which were negotiated, or to see trends or other sorts of contractual issues that you see over a period of time. I think there's a lot of upside in that space. That I think is going to be a growing space. I think it's a very practical space because a lot of law firms provide legal counsel on contracts. A lot of in-house teams work on contracts. To me, that is a big opportunity, growing opportunity in the AI space.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure there are 100 other things we could talk about, time permitting. But I think that is one that's ready right now. So just as a wrap up, if you were advising a small to mid-sized law firm today, what are the top 2 or 3 steps they should take to prepare for an AI augmented future?
Well, I mean, I think I would say number one, do not be afraid of AI. Don't fear AI. Look at AI as a tool to help you and your firm. I would go out there and look at a number of the AI solutions which are out there, especially in the Gen AI space. There's lots of tools which you can take on a test drive, if you will, and to try them out. I would try them all out and see how they may be suitable or not suitable for your firm. But I would just don't be afraid and to really look at all of the solutions which are out there, put them through a sort of a test pilot, try through, if you will. And then, once you see them, do a little deeper due diligence on them. And, before you actually spend money to procure them. I mean, really spend your time looking at them. Don't be shy in seeking case studies or references for certain AI solutions to find out, what other companies or firms are using these solutions. You should hopefully get some good case studies and maybe speak to customers of those companies and firms to see how their experience is with those AI solutions. So take the time to do that proper due diligence.
Awesome. That's a great advice. Thank you, Dennis. So
Anytime, Gary.
Skip our last poll also, since we're over time. We'll be finishing up in just a second here, but just wanted everybody to know you're going to get an email after the webinar that'll include the slides and recording, and it'll allow you to download that financial report card. And if you return it, we'll send you a free profitability report based on the information you put in there. And then I'm always available for a 15-minute free financial strategy consultation if you'd like. Not a pitch, but just to help your firm get on firmer financial footing. All right. So unless there are any questions from the audience, and we didn't get any during the session here, but we are going to conclude. But thank you so much, Dennis. I really enjoyed the conversation and feel like we could have gone on for hours. So thanks so much.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, Gary. Great to see you again. And I know we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for coming. We'll see you next time. Bye now.